Okay, so this is a new day. I'm gonna be separating these episodes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Super long.
There's a lot of game to talk about. A lot of game. There was already enough game to talk about before Royal, and then they just added more. So I believe we left off after Haru, correct?
Yeah, we left off, I believe it was, we were either going right into Akechi at the school or right after it.
Okay, so yes. Yeah, they had just invited Akechi. I think that's what we were talking about. So Akechi comes to the school. During their school festival, they were planning the school festival. And they get him as a guest. They briefly meet up with him, all of them. I think they went to Joker and On's class thing, which was a maid cafe, which, of course, a Japanese school festival having a maid cafe.
It's an easy one, but it's rife for jokes.
Yes.
And I like seeing the kids hang out and be kids and be good and not have to worry about, somebody's going to blackmail us into killing somebody or something.
Yeah.
It's good. I like seeing them hang out together,
Which
especially with Haru there.
Which the next day, Akechi blackmails them. Which I actually think we were talking about the blackmailing. So the big thing with that scene is this is where, like, the recollection part of Joker's memory starts getting a little weird. So everybody leaves, and then Morgana stops Joker, says, "Hey, we need to talk," and then it gets like all fuzzy and whatever, and then the scene moves on. It's like, well, that was weird. That hasn't happened before. What's going on? So you kind of continue as is, and then you start to infiltrate Nijima's palace, which is my favorite palace. I love her palace. I love the casino theme. The music is incredible.
The darn song is one of the best in the game. It's like top 3 or 4.
Yes.
It's such a good song.
It's not even a contest.
I'm still partial to Beneath the Mask.
No. I'm just saying for like top song in the game.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm like, I'm not gonna argue with you.
Beneath the Mask is numero uno. Completely agree.
Okay, good. I'm glad we agree with that.
Yes. I've gone to sleep to the Rain version many a time.
It's so darn good.
Such a simple beat too. Anyone could go up to a piano and play that beat.
Yes. And I told BG, and I was like, I'm being dead serious. I want to be buried to that music. Y'all better play that at my funeral.
You know, I wouldn't knock you for it.
It's a nice song. It's not like it's a booty rocking everywhere. No, it's just like.
Now I want you to be buried to that song. He was the most gangster of us.
He died as he lived.
So yeah, they start the infiltration, and this is probably where you were feeling the push the most, I'm assuming.
Yes, because they kept going, what are we going to do? And Akechi just goes, we could just go over here and bet this and do this and then this. And then the big casino like, what are we going to do? We don't have nearly enough money. Well, luckily, I bet on him already, and we got 10 times as much money. So now we have just enough. You're a genius, Akechi. I'm like, oh, gosh.
I see, like, the way I kind of feel about that, at least in hindsight now, is a part of that was their acting.
Yeah.
Like, they were making him feel egotistical and bloated just so they could trick him easier.
Drop his guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I figured that out after the reveal happened, but, you know, it's so obvious that it's him. You have that in your mind, but you didn't know that they knew. So that just seemed like that. But yeah, I went in there, and you can't like retroactively change how you feel at that point. Like, oh, they were acting, but they were still just like, even if they weren't acting, he was just like, okay, these are good ideas that he's doing, and he's the only person doing them. So yeah, like, well,
I kind of feel like they knew, like, obviously didn't know the specifics, but like once the whole Fuzzy Morgana cutscene played out, and then as soon as Futaba takes his phone and is inspecting it, I'm like, she's planting a bug. No doubt in my mind, she's planting a bug.
Nope. The first time that I played, I was like, that's just Futaba being Futaba. That's what she would have done if she got her hands on them lobsters. She's just being her weird self. But I'm just like, okay, no, it's so obviously that it's Sakechi, but I wasn't like, no, they're playing a bug.
But yeah, you go through
stuff like that.
God.
Stuff like this, I just thought I don't turn my brain off. I just don't think as hard about it, so I can be surprised. Like the Maruki thing, it's obvious once you think about it. Like, okay, we had Maruki, he's talking about cognition and all that stuff. It's so obvious that it's him. But I'm just like, who is it? Oh my goodness. But as they were going in that room, I was like, but what if it's Maruki? And then Maruki showed up, like, ah! So yeah,
I'd like to imagine like half of your brain is the knowledgeable side that's just like, it's obviously this, and it's just the other half's like, who's it gonna be, and then the other half's just like, yeah, I think it's gonna be shut up.
You're ruining it. We're gonna figure this out together, all right? No, it's so clear. No, please.
Oh boy. But and then you're kind of like, there's a lot of different confidants that you can finish at this point. You can definitely finish, I think you can finish just about all of them. Save for maybe Haru at this point, because she started so late. Trying to think of who I was finishing up by this point. I think it was
around this time I was wrapping up a lot of people.
I think it was like Futaba and Haru. That's really it. Yeah, like you get the end of Sojiro's whole storyline, which at the end of it includes Futaba. It's her uncle is trying to get custody of her, mostly for money's sake. He basically wants like child support in essence from the government or whatever. And all of these,
there's all this stuff about her. It's like, oh, she had a terrible time there. She would sleep on the floor and not getting provided food. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
I don't want to. Don't hurt my Futaba. Nice.
Yeah,
I was real pissed about that. I'm like,
most of these confidants, the ones that aren't your party members, they finish off with, there is someone's heart you have to change in mementos. So in Sojiro's case, it's Futaba's uncle. For the doctor, there is another doctor who basically ousted her from making this medicine for this girl. He tried to take all the credit from her and ended up blowing up in his face because it wasn't ready. And then she got ousted and basically pushed into almost obscurity. And all of her using you as a guinea pig was just to perfect this medicine to give to this girl. Dickbag doctor comes in and is like, oh, the girl's dead. Ha ha ha. And then she loses hope, and then you change his heart.
The little shooty gun boy just has an overbearing mother that changed her heart.
Yeah. It's like, can't lose. The fortune teller, who is, it's a tie between her and Hifume for like my favorite non-party member best girl. I like both of them.
Yeah, dude, Kawakami exists, sir.
Even with Kawakami, those two are over her.
All right, I'm disconnecting. You're done here. I thought I knew you.
So you have a teacher fetish, is what you're saying?
Not that. It's just that her story is just very sad, and she's trying her hardest. Because she's just like, well, I really would like to go on a vacation one day. And whenever you give her gifts, it's just like, give her practical stuff that she can use, like a vacuum or a toothbrush or something like that. Kawakami, 5 stars. Get it out of here, Mike. Those two, very nice. But Kawakami, all day. All day.
So hers is these parents of this kid that she was helping tutor, that the parents basically just wanted the kid to work all the time to make them money. And kid got killed on his way to work after a study session. And the parents basically were just milking Kawakami dry, so you changed their hearts. Fortune teller, her boss was scamming people. Change his heart. Hifume has another overbearing mother that just wanted to turn her into an idol and basically was just like, Shogi's stupid. You do not disrespect Shogi around her. Ahoya, it was her boss who was just piling more and more work on her, giving her harsher deadlines to have her avoid looking into a case that involved one of her best friends who got a mental breakdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. That's the Chipotle. Who am I missing? We got Dr. Yoshida. He didn't have anyone whose heart you changed. You just kind of went through the motions with that. Mishima, his started as just like, really, I did not like his at the start. Where it's just like, he's just trying to feel better about himself and just prove he's not useless. And it's like, it's because of me the Phantom Thieves are so great, and you need to change this pop artist's heart because I don't agree with him. And then the one thing I liked about his the most is you find he has a shadow in Mementos. You go and talk to a shadow. You don't fight him. You basically shame the shadow into going back. That I like. Oh, that I liked a lot, and then I came around on Mishima.
Yeah, but his was still, at the end of the day, one of my least favorite.
Oh yeah. Out of the gold mine that is many of these confidants, he was a silver for sure. What else? I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh, the twins. We did not talk about the twins at all. So the twins, their normal their normal confidant route is you just fuse specific personas with specific skills. And it just gives, as you do it, give context clues as to what happened to them. But they added things in this game where you just go and hang out with them at various places in the real world where they, like, just learn about the real world. And
my favorite new content.
Yeah.
Even with the new castle, even with all the you can now roam around at night instead of just going to sleep every night. Even with Yoshikawa, my favorite thing about this game, because I've always loved those twins. I've loved them in the first game where they were just like just the interactions with them too when we were going through the strength persona, because it's just like at one point Caroline looks at the book and just like, oh, we got a note here for you, Justine. It just says treat the inmate with respect, but don't coddle them. Do it with an angled hip and a firm jaw like you practice. And I'm like, she's faking this hard act. What? And I'm like, I love that just a little bit, and then just them just talking to each other. Then I love the twins so much. And then you move over and just like, okay, I got the twins. Lavenza, I'm fine with. I'll get to her later. But the twins, I'm like, I love the twins. And then you can move over to Persona 4, to Persona 5 dancing in Starlight, and They have one dance with every single person, which I love, and not including their own dance where people can hop in. They have a dance where they hop into other people's dances, and they always mimic their dancing style. So with Ryuji, it's a lot. Ryuji's like a rocker. He's a lot more rough. He's not like a dancer or anything. He's just sort of like swinging his arms, just sort of bobbing his head. They're mimicking that. Haru is ballet. They're doing ballet. Futaba's like this very childish, like tap dancing and swinging her arms and having fun sort of thing. And they're doing that, and I love that so much. They're so good. And then you got this one where you're just hanging out with them, just showing them the real world, and it's hilarious. And it's great character stuff, and I loved it. My only problem, one teensy, weensy little problem, is that the very last one was with Lavenza and not the twins, because I would have loved to see them in that attic and playing with that. But the reason why they did that, I know the reason why they did that is because Lavenza needed that little bit of character stuff, because she was she came in towards the end, and you didn't really get too much of her other than she's she's just quiet and sort of polite. You got a lot more of her in this one, which I really appreciate, kind of like Lavenza, but she needed that. And I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm starting to get Lavenza's character. She had one little dance, and she hops into one other person's dance in the dancing game. So like, I'm getting a little bit of her, but now I get it. I dig what they're doing. So yeah, love the twins. Love the twins. If I was to rank the characters in Persona 5, it would be Haru number 1, Futaba number 2, Yusuke number 3, and then the twins. I love them that much.
Okay.
It's crazy.
My favorite
I'm nuts for them
of the interactions was the first one, to be honest, at Big Bang Burger. That line at the end where Justine is like, I'm really disappointed. The burgers are not big or cosmic in size. The toy spaceship's soften the blow, though. I love that line so much. Because I can just imagine just like her being stupid, disappointed, and she gets like the Happy Meal, looks inside, is like, oh. This is like has a hint of happiness, but then goes back to.
They can't like show it, so it's like this is an acceptable toy.
Yeah, just like a minute second of happiness, and just that.
Yes, I love that so much. That just like they have to pull it back, and then when they go into LeBlanc, and it's like, what is this sludge? Why are you eating sludge and drinking sludge? It doesn't make any sense. Oh man, my favorite stuff. And it didn't even give you too much of anything. It gave you like skill cards, basically worthless. But I'm just like, I'm sacrificing time where I'm like, I could be hanging out with you. I could be doing this. I'm like, but every time I'm just like, y'all got anything for me, twins? Where we going? I'm like, oh, we need to go to this place. And it's like, they describe an aquarium. I'm like, how do I get to the aquarium? Oh, I got to read this book. Read the book, go back the next time. We're going to the aquarium. I'm like, that's 2 nights that I basically wasted for skill cards that I'm not going to use.
Yeah.
Went crazy for it.
Yeah, and the other like thing as far as like leveling up confidants is a good chunk of them you get the level 2 personas for the your teammates, which we kind of went at length for some of them. Yeah, Ryuji's is good.
His all 3 of his are great.
On's is good. I like, of Morgana's personas, his level 2 is my favorite.
Really, I like Diego.
It's just a white Zoro.
Yeah.
And I don't like Zoro, so I can't really say I like Diego.
I like Zoro.
Yusuke's is, it's Yusuke's.
All trash, unfortunately, because I love the boy.
Makoto's is balls.
Her number 1 and her number 1's the best. Number 2, we're not even talking about it. And number 3 is acceptable.
Yes. I like Futaba's number 2 more than the number 1. I'm still kind of going back and forth on the 3rd. I like the Techno the Death Star. Yeah.
I forgot what Futaba's level 3 was.
It's a triangle. It's
Oh yeah, the little spaceship.
yeah.
I might be thinking.
I'm actually blanking on Haru's just because you get it so late and then it automatically goes to number 3. Almost instantly.
Her number 1, Milady, fantastic.
Yes, Milady's
magnificent. Good. Number 2, her second one it's not great. It's like it's like this black, completely black one with like this. It's got eyes at the bottom of it. It's like a skull at the bottom for a dress.
Oh yeah, actually, I do kind of like that one now that I'm remembering.
Yeah, it's fine. But then Lucy kills. Lucy absolutely slays. She's got the big coat and like these little frills at the side of the Love Lucy. And then we'll get into Yoshikawa's because
yes,
boy, get on up there.
Yeah, I mean her first level is still great. We've already seen that. But at this point in the game, we are catching up to the interrogation stuff. Oh, also, before we actually get to that, so as you get confidants, we had mentioned this before, every time you start a confidant line, it cuts back to Sainijima interrogating Joker, and she'll say something about, you know, what they did. So it's like the kid who teaches you how to play the gun game. She's like, we found a lot of guns in your collection. It seems you were very proficient with guns. Someone had to teach you these skills. Who was it? And like for most people, it made sense here and there. But for me, as we're going through, we get to Haru. And usually when like it's introduced, it pertains to like the thing that they help you do. So like Yusuke, he's the artist. So it's just like when it came up for that confidant line, so I was just like, there seemed to be someone with great artistic skill helping you. And the thing that is introduced with Haru is that she plants vegetables. And as it's like getting to that point where it's like, okay, the confidant cutscene is coming up, I'm like, what? Wait a second. What is this line? Like my expectation as the cutscene's coming up, Sainijima just like looking up, just like, it seems you've been eating your vegetables. Someone had to be planting a good crop. Who was it?
Your iron level is above average.
Yes,
odd for a high school student.
What could this be? And then it was just like, you needed someone with like connections as far as like business world. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like Haru's personality doesn't match that at the moment. But I can see the confidant line growing into this. But right now, all that I really knew about her was that she grew vegetables. And that said she was being forced into a shitty marriage. That's all I knew about her. So I chuckled when that cutscene came up and I'm like, oh, okay.
We found a pretty big carrot in your back pocket. Let me ask you, what's up, Doc?
Just the tense music playing. Side takes a bite out of it. That carrot is 2 months old. So, at this point, we catch up to current times. And there's like certain little things here and there that like, if you're paying attention, were context clues as to how certain things play out. You get caught up, Joker gets captured like you did in the beginning of the game when you were in the casino.
Yoshikawa comes up and she goes, hey, we get to fight again together, senpai. And I'm just like, where did we fight the first time? And then we fought in her little palace before. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, good. Yep, that makes sense.
And you've been doing a little bit of confidant stuff with her throughout the game, as well as with Maruki. Wait, Maruki?
Maruki.
Like, I know I'm saying that wrong. And just like about her doing in gymnastics, how she hasn't been doing so well, how she's training you, what have you, and her struggles with that, which are, again, more context clues. Foreshadowing, as they put it. you get to the end of the interview thing, and then you're starting to remember more of the fuzziness. And then you have a choice which could end the game at that moment or continue it, where you Sainijima basically names every member of the Phantom Thieves and says, are these your co-conspirators? And if you turn them in, the game ends.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Basically the cutscene where Akechi comes in and shoots you in the head actually happens.
Oh.
Joker just dies. Game over. But if you don't turn them in,
that's another problem. I got two things to say about this. Number one, that was another Akechi push where it's just like, are these your co-conspirators? You can pick yes, no, or who are they? And then she goes, if you pick no, you go, okay. And I got one more person to talk about. Goro Akechi. Was he a Phantom Thief? And all the choices are no. Of course not. No. Who? What? No, you're crazy. You can't even begin to even think about turning him in. It's like, well... and that leads me off to another thing. I don't really like most of the choices in this game because most of them are just like, hey, do you want to go over here? And it's just like, yes, or yeah, let's go right now. It's like, do we even really need to have a choice when both options are yes? That I just felt that it's just like sometimes that's just kind of redundant. I understand that there's like you put your own little spin on it. You can implant yourself into the character. I would say, yeah, let's go right now, as opposed to, yeah, I guess we can go right now. I can understand that they're doing that, but vary it up a little bit.
So you don't want a Mass Effect 3 ending, is what you're saying. Pick your color. So if you don't turn in any of the Phantom Thieves, and then you kind of remember, you're like, hey, that phone... you need to show Akechi that phone. They're like, okay, that's weird. And Akechi comes. I think because Joker basically says Akechi's going to be coming here. Show him that phone. And then Sainijima walks out the door, and lo and behold, Goro Akechi standing right there. And she shows him the phone. Because as you... are getting towards the end of this interrogation throughout the game, you actually unlock a confidant with Sainijima, the judge confidant, and she's just beginning to trust your story, especially after her sister is involved.
Yeah. Number one, I wish that she gave some sort of benefit. I don't know exactly what it could have been, but I wish she gave something. Number two, wish you could date her, but obviously. But then you're out there dating teachers. Come on now. Have it be her and Makoto at the same time. Who cares?
That's what I thought. Is you have the cutscene on Valentine's Day where it's both of them.
Like,
oh, buddy.
What? You? What?
Oh, that would be.
Yeah, and Valentine's Day, she comes by to drop chocolate. She was like, "This isn't anything. This is just appreciation chocolate." It's like, it could be more.
And she's a career woman. She don't got time for men.
I accept that.
Also, I like just thinking about it. She's probably voiced by one of your favorite actresses.
Elizabeth Maxwell.
Yes.
Yes, I met her at Motor City Comic Con a couple years back. Very nice lady. Had a lot to say about Sainijima and her role in Breath of the Wild. That was what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I had her sign that and my Winter that I'm staring at right now.
There you go. Winter Schnee.
Yeah,
So when she shows him the phone, something like weird happens, and then she walks off. Then a cutscene happens where Goro reveals, shockingly, just le gasp, he was the traitor.
Basically.
And then shoots Joker in the head. very graphic scene.
Yeah.
Um,
Now I'll say this about the reveal. So obvious. If you there's a big whodunit in Persona 4 that I'm not gonna spoil for you, even though I'm pretty sure you know who it is just based off of osmosis. Maybe not, but who knows? But yeah, in that one, it's just like at a certain point they take you outside and just go. The detective just goes, "We need to figure out who this is right now," and they give you a list of every single character that you've interacted with, confidants, just people in the gas station, every single character. You got 3 choices. If you don't get in those 3 choices, game ends. But if you know based off of just like one little thing, like the pancakes thing, just like if you're paying attention, you got it. And if you're not, you didn't.
Yeah.
But you got to pick that person, and it just goes, but wait, that doesn't make any sense because of this. And then you got to pick another choice. Just like, well, this could have happened because of this. And it's like, oh crap. And then you got to piece it together that way. But yeah, this one is just, he just walks in the room and just goes, it was obviously me. He was like, yeah. Uh-huh.
Blam, blam. And then he walks out and calls his benefactor, who happens to be the same dude that got Joker arrested in the beginning of the game, who has also been appearing in random little snippets and cutscenes, Masayo Shishido. Who is running to be the next Prime Minister of Japan. And also he name drops him in the phone call. Then stuff happens. What is Alibaba, who is Futaba, contacts Sainijima and basically is like, you need to get him out of there right now, before they figure out things. He's alive. And then they kind of pull the curtain back on everything that happened. The original cutscene where Akechi originally blackmails the party, Morgana and Joker talk, was like, it was the pancakes. He heard me before we had even met him before.
Yeah, and I like how they did that, especially going back and watching it. They say pancakes, Morgana says pancakes, and then they say a couple more lines after that, and then Akechi comes up and they start talking, and then like 5, 6, 7 lines into his speech, he goes, what about those pancakes though? And it's enough time that you go, wait, who said something about pancakes, and you can forget if you're not paying attention. So I like how they did that. It wasn't just like pancakes and he just walks up and goes, pancakes. No, I like how they did it.
And then they show, it's like, okay, talking to Futaba, bug is planted. They know what he's going to be planning. So they start making a counter plan. And then at one point, when you first infiltrate Nijima's palace, they look over and see, oh, there's the police station and there's barracks underneath where they do interrogations for criminals. It looks basically the same as it does in the real world. And then so they go over there and see, yeah, it is exactly the same as the real world. So they devise a plan where Joker is going to intentionally get captured. They will basically know at some point that Sainijima is going to interrogate him and that he has to convince her to show his phone to Akechi right as he's about to assassinate him.
So it's just like, this could go very poorly. Yeah. So you got to just sort of gain her trust throughout the thing, and that's what the whole point was.
Yeah, and so then basically the phone is going to temporarily transport him to the metaverse where he's going to kill a fake Joker and a fake guard, and then get transported out of it. The only issue was basically while he was in jail, the dudes who beat the shit out of him at the beginning of the game drugged the crap out of him with truth serum, which made his memory fuzzy. Perfectly legal stuff, I'm sure. And so they smuggle him out of jail. Everybody is super psyched to see him. And then you lay low for a little while. And then in one of the phone calls that was tapped on Akechi's phone, they realize, oh, it's Shido. And they realize, yes, he has a palace. They figure out what it is. It's a ship.
Very painstakingly figure out exactly what it is. They just sit there and just go, bank, another bank, I guess. Space, what? I don't know. Yeah, I really like that. And then they go down and listen to one of his speeches, like, I'll sail this country into a brand new era. Hop on my boat, you guys. Yeah.
And let us steer this country in the right direction.
Like, okay, we got it.
And then, his palace is up there. I liked his palace.
I really liked the song.
Yes.
This has some really, really good music.
It does. And then
the only part that I'm kind of on is the mice part, where you gotta open doors.
Yeah, I can understand that. The puns were great.
Puns were 5 stars.
So you go through that while as well as finishing up any other little loose ends, doing some billiards, playing some darts, whatever you need to do for the end of the game.
I never played billiards, and then I figured out what the billiards did, and I'm pissed that I never played billiards.
It's pretty good, especially for
I'm pissed.
Especially for the bonus battles with the twins and Lavenza.
I'm pissed. I was just looking through it. I was like, it does what? Because I figured out that you could get basically max 2 people at the same time in darts. So I just went, I'm going to just do the darts whenever I get 2 more people on my team.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did that. And I went to the club a couple times because that gave some pretty good bonuses. But I never played billiards because I'm like, well, it gives you affinity, and I don't really need affinity for my teammates. I got Fortune Teller over there, so whatever. And I screwed that up.
That's a big thing with the Jazz Club too, and it's actually another thing that they did with New Game Plus for the Jazz Club, and then for you either working out in the attic, at the gym, or going to that shrine. Those stat boosts stay per game.
Oh,
they carry over.
Okay.
So I've just been, since like I hadn't had Kawakami in my new game, every night where I had a free night where I wasn't like in a palace or mementos, Joker's just been fucking pumping himself up.
Protein.
Yeah, just boosting his health as much as he can. So yeah, you get to the end, you send Shido the calling card, or actually before you even send Shido the calling card, it's once you are just about to secure the route to his treasure. Throughout some different cutscenes, Akechi is like realizing, motherfucker, I got played.
Masayo Shishida's just like, yeah, we're gonna take down everybody who knows about what we've been doing. Everyone, we're taking them all out. You go, we're taking them all out. Yeah, all of them. He's just like, oh, I think that includes me as well.
Any loose ends.
Stupid.
So as you're about to go and secure the route, Goro shows up in Shido's palace, and you have a fight with him where he starts off in his princely detective persona outfit with the giant nose, and then as you're fighting him, oh no, that isn't his true form. This isn't even his final form. He shows off this like dark knight armor, the black mask that has been foreshadowed throughout the past couple of palaces. Some other persona user has been going through these palaces, and you fight his new persona, Loki, and basically sheds any vestige of his princely identity, and he's just a maniac. Tyrion,
Tyrion, very Tyrion, but a little bit better. Not just because I like beating up Akechi, but this was one of my favorite boss fights. I really liked his boss fight.
Yeah.
It's like that perfect balance of this is just hard enough that I'm really enjoying myself. He doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. He's got a lot of resistances. He's bringing in mobs. I really like that.
Mm-hmm. So get to the end, and has this whole cutscene about him where it's just like, maybe if I would have met you sooner, I probably wouldn't have been as big of a fuck up. Because boy,
yeah, whatever, homie. Yeah, whatever, homie.
Child murderer. But then it gets to a point where the shadow version of him shows up and is just like, yep, I was a contingency in case you decided to go rogue on Shido.
And also, once this was all over, I was just going to kill you anyway. So just to tie up any loose ends. And then I was going to turn myself in because I love Shido that much. I think it was the cognitive version of Akechi.
Yeah, it was the shadow version of Akechi.
Yeah, so he was just like, I was just going to turn myself in. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. So then Akechi tries to make a somewhat noble move by, like, as a bunch of shadows show up as well, so he just shutters off the section that he's in from the rest of the Phantom Thieves and has a fight with his shadow. You don't know how it ends, but it's seemingly that he gets killed.
Yeah, you just hear two shots, and Futuaba's like, yeah, I can't sense either of them.
Mm-hmm. And then you move on, secure the route to the treasure. Then you have your boss fight with the shadow version of Shido, which you had not seen. Typically, you saw the shadow versions of the palace rulers before you actually had the boss fight. You get to the treasure, and it just looks like Shido. So, like, okay, it's weird. But then as you go through, and obviously the shadow versions can't be swayed, he ends up in like a gaudy M. Bison armor.
That armor is a reference to something that I don't know, but I definitely seen it. I'm just like, I don't know exactly where that's from, but they're referencing something.
Yeah. And then he is on top of this like golden lion that's basically just a mass of people.
Such a great design.
Yeah, you fight that, and then the lion becomes a golden pyramid of people, where again, he's just sitting on top of it at the throne, because everyone is beneath him. Then once you do that, he sheds the armor, and underneath it, he's just ripped as fuck.
He's got like this restrainer thing on, and
yeah,
it's like, all right, we're just doing this now.
Yeah,
how about these two fists?
Yep. Then you keep fighting him, and then he breaks out of the restraints to where he's just jacked. You're just fighting a big jacked man, and gets to a point where he actually blows the rest of your party away, and it's just mano a mano, Joker versus him. And then once you beat that, he and the outside Shido senses, oh crap, they did it. They stole my treasure. And these scientists that are working with him that know about cognitive science are like, well, there's something that we can try. You could basically take this pill that kills you for about 10 minutes. But we've never really tested it before. Give me the pill!
Give me here. Take that, Phantom Thieves. I win, thud.
So, as he's like, his really shadow quickly, is... Go ahead.
The picture I just threw in Discord, that's who he was referencing. It's a character from Gundam.
And I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
I've definitely seen some AMVs with him. And the funny thing about that is, I just read it in the wiki, that the guy who voices Masayo Shishida also voices him in both Japanese and in English.
Oh wow.
So that's like 4 levels of references and callbacks and all sorts of crap.
Mm-hmm. So like as you're having this heartfelt conversation with the shadow, it just like hurt and dies. So boat starts sinking, and goes into an anime cutscene where everyone's just like, okay, this is being cut off. This is being cut off. What the hell do we do? And then they're looking around. They're like, oh, there's a lifeboat over there. They're like, we'll never get to it in time. And then Ryuji's best moment in the entire damn game, he's just like, you know what? I got this. Everybody get ready. He gets on, the boat's like tilted at this point, so he gets on the wall of the area that they're standing in, gets into a sprinter pose, starts running as fast as he can, jumps, lands onto the other half of the ship, which is an uphill incline at this point, and just like my favorite part of this cutscene, he just punches his bad leg a couple times, like, come on!
I love that part.
Yeah.
Love it.
And sprints up, manages to get the lifeboat, hanging from the switch that turns it, lowers it, everybody manages to get on, and then he's just like hanging there. He's like, all right, I did it, and everyone's like all happy. Explosion.
Gives a big old thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up. Explosion happens. You just see him engulfed in flames. Rest of the party, and this is like one of the things too, where it's just like, you know, him and An have a special connection where just like everybody gets just like, you know, obviously shell shocked, but then she's the one that just like screams Ryuji.
Yeah. I also would have liked it if Morgana did it as well. Just like, we fight a lot, but I actually cared about him.
Yeah. So everybody gets out except Ryuji. Everybody is super sad, obviously, just because they do care about him. And I do love how they framed this scene, though, where just everyone is obviously just like, we did it, but at what cost? And then you just hear, man, that was close. Ryuji just walks into frame.
Just walks on into frame like, well, what's the problem?
And everyone gets so pissed off at him that they beat the shit out of him. And then just leave him there. I do agree as far as like emotional stakes, like it would have been a good death.
Yeah, but if somebody had to go, it could have been Ryuji, and it could have been right there. It would have been no better point. I would have been perfectly fine with it. At that point, I was just like, I was on the teeter end of just like, I like Ryuji, but I don't love him like so. I love some other people. He's not on the lower end like An or Morgana, but he's not up at the very tippity top like Haru Futaba. He's like a 7.5. I like him, and then he did the run. I was like, okay, no, I really like him, and then he blew up. I was like, okay, they made me like him before they killed him. I dig it, and then they brought him back. I was like, yeah, they could have killed him right there.